Dr. Peel, and he was a very dynamic speaker. And then afterward, he would come down in the vestibule. You could have brunch there, and Dr. Peel would walk around and talk to everyone. So it was really fascinating. He introduced me to W. Clement Stone, who was a self-made billionaire, and he gave me 4 books, which made a huge difference in my life. One of them was Think and Grow Rich, and another book that he wrote with Napoleon Hill, and so on and so on. So these things can make a huge difference. But later, I was on a program with Dr. Peel when he was 90 years young.
All right.
And he was still powerful. He's 90 years young, still a very powerful man on the pulpit, making a difference. I mean, this was actually a seminar, but making a difference for other people. Mm-hmm. So if you're really up to something, you'll live longer, and life will be exciting moment to moment. The third component in terms of generating a breakthrough, first is a break with your old ways of thinking. That, by the way, will alter your way of doing. Mm-hmm. And then the third is alter your way of being, a break with your old way of being. And when you alter your old way of being, people will respond differently to you. You will begin having the experience that you want to have in life. And as I said, the more you do, the more you can do, the more you expand your consciousness, the more you can expand your consciousness. And that's really what we're talking about, is elevating your level of consciousness. Let me just give you a little insight into how to have that breakthrough. Dr. David Hawkins did some work on consciousness, and he was actually able to measure consciousness, and through millions of tests. And these are kinesthetic measurements of consciousness, okay? The way he came up with a scale, a logarithmic scale. And everything below 200 in terms of this 1 to 1,000 scale is disempowering. For an example, and people out there in the audience, listening audience, will appreciate this. When you're in fear, you're at 100. Remember, I said everything below 200 is disempowering. 200, by the way, is courage, okay? But fear is disempowering. And we live in a fear-based society. So you really have to invest some time in yourself and your way of thinking, and you have to be in a study, if you will, on a daily basis to introduce that kind of thought, powerful thought, into your life. Thought about transformation, or how to transform your thinking and your results, because it's all related. And so fear is 100. One's anger is 160. By the way, if you're ever in fear, anger feels better than fear, yes?
Feels more empowering.
Yeah, it feels more empowering. You feel the power in your body. You say, doggone it, I'm not going to take it anymore.
Right.
I have had enough of this. I'm going to do something about this, okay? This is going to change. And then things do change. Courage is 200 in levels of consciousness. Now, so just as a little insight here, if you're in fear, get beyond fear. So whatever you have to do, get yourself out of fear. Now, I teach a technique, a process for releasing fear in 2 minutes. And by the way, stress is a form of fear. And if anyone, I'll give you one little insight on stress, if you want to release stress, because typically stress disempowers, fear disempowers. Whatever you're stressed out about, you're resisting, because the essential cause in stress is resistance. So if you're stressed out, look to see what you're resisting, okay? Right. And then another insight in that regard is accept yourself, the other person, or the circumstance or the condition that you're in. You say, well, I don't want to accept the condition, because if I accept that, then it won't get better. Just the opposite is the case. And you could look at times in your life, don't take my word for it, look at times in your life when you finally surrendered to it, accepted it, and then suddenly it changed.
Right. And the stress is gone.
And the stress is gone.
Right.
And then, by the way, when the stress is gone, you're in your power source again. You're in the place of power.
Is
power.
stress lower than fear on David Hawkins' scale? Is it less than 100?
What is?
Stress. Or is it the same?
No, stress and fear are synonymous. It's just stress is a heightened sense of fear.
Okay.
Yeah. So, by the way, openness is 260. Now, I would say a lot of the people on the call, and by the way, a lot of it's context-based sometimes, a lot of the people on the call are in fear, but some are in openness. And you might be in both of those places given the day or the time or whatever's occurring in your life.
Right.
But that's a huge jump between courage and openness. By the way, 300 is acceptance. Now, most people on the call are on the call because they want to change something. Am I right?
Right.
That's why you got on the call. Otherwise, you could be doing something else. Here's the thing about change. And I hear this constantly, and I know that everyone comes to my seminars because they want to change something. And by the way, I also want to just mention to you, if you'll go to my site, I have a series of programs that I'm doing in Southern Cal. If you can go to those seminars, they're absolutely free. There's no charge. My site's Stephen Cates, and you know my name from the flyer, StephenCates.com, and you'll click on seminars, and there's a list of seminars there, and you can attend one of those seminars if you please, okay? Now, so whenever you try to change something, what you get is resistance within yourself. So anyone out there who's ever tried to change their husband or wife has met with resistance, and my guess is you weren't successful.
Oh, right.
Of course, that's what you do. When you get married, you try to change your wife, and the wife tries to change you.
Right.
So there you go. Well, I was reading about some I forget it was some actor, actress, somebody is famous for. They got married. They only been married 6 months. They're getting divorced.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, and by the way, my guess is you weren't successful. Because when you try to change another person, you get resistance. And I don't care if you're trying to change your kids, for heaven's sake, you get resistance, okay? And another thing, just so you know out there, parents, because I'm a parent, is that when you try to change someone, they feel invalidated. They feel like they're not enough the way they are for you. Now, and that's not your intent. Your intent was to contribute to their life or make their life better or easier or something. But it doesn't work. So when you try to change yourself, there's a part of you that wants to change, and I know most people are clear about this. There's a part of you that resists the change. It's like losing weight. This stuff tastes so good, but I'd like to be skinnier. Yeah, but it tastes real good, and it's here right now. So there's a part of you that wants it, a part of you that doesn't. The business of transformation, you hear the term all the time. Transformation, the process is altogether different. The process of transformation is transcendence. Transcendence is having power over that which you'd like to change. So how do you experience transformation? Related to your business, to the number of transactions, to the market, to the economy, is that you accept it the way it is. To do otherwise is to be in denial. And denial is not a river in Egypt. So, if you accept the present condition, it no longer has power over you to make you unhappy, but rather now you have some power over it. You have some distance over it. You can see opportunities.
Right.
There's a person that I'm coaching now, and I coached her before. She called me one day. She was at one of my seminars, and there was some guy in her office that I coached, and his income went from 100 to 240 to 400 to 600 and beyond, okay? So, and he always had his feet on the desk. She said, how do you get the business? You never prospect your feet on the desk. She says, well, Stephen showed me how to get the business to flow to me. Okay, give me his number. So she calls me. She says, I'm stuck at 56,000. You got to help me. I said, okay, fine. So I started coaching her. 1 year later, she made 163,000. She was happy with that. The next year, she made over 300,000. Next year, she made over 400,000, and so on. And so then she's dropped out of my coaching program because, hey, she didn't need me anymore. She was doing just fine. And, of course, she's in a whole different place now, so she get back in the coaching program. So she's seen some other ways in which she's found another niche that most people don't know about that she's doing quite well with, you know. So when you elevate your consciousness, you see possibility. And when you see possibility, you become possibility. And that's one of the things we mean about reclaiming your power. There are certain things that make you miserable, make you unhappy, and all that thing. Well, this is a way of reclaiming your power. So transformation is acceptance. It's acceptance. So whenever you can accept yourself as you are, not when you lose weight, not when you make more money, not when you're more successful, but there's only now, the present moment. And when you're present, by the way, there's no misery present. There's no upset. There's no fear when you are in the present moment. In the present moment, we talk about the past, the present, and the future like they're all points in time. The past is in time, the future is in time, but the present is out of time. In this present moment, you're out of time. That's why there's no misery, there's no upset, there's no fear, there's no anxiety, there's no nothing. And so you want to bring yourself to the present all you can. This program is called Power Radio, right? It's all about power. Well, let me tell you about power. And it's great that you're on this call, and you probably are on these calls religiously. Power, let's take power versus force. Force is, and I see this, I have a Facebook page, and a lot of people go on there, and a lot of speakers, you know, speakers are always coming to my page, and they want to be my friend. Okay, fine. So, and they're saying, I'm going to make it happen this year.
Right.
Okay, that's force. Okay? It's not bad. It's better than nothing. It's not, but allowing it to happen is much better. If you shift your consciousness, you get yourself in the right place, it will occur. And we're going to talk about that in a minute here. In fact, right now what the thought is there, you want to set your intention and then let it go.
Set the intention, let it go.
You want to set your intention and let it go. Why? Because if you think about it, and everyone can relate to this, when do things really happen? When you're not trying to do anything or make anything happen. In fact, lots of times you try to make it happen and nothing happens. In fact, here's one everyone can relate to. When you're going on vacation is when everyone wants to see property and wants to list their property with you.
Right.
Why? Because you said, I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm not worried about any of this stuff anymore. I'm going to put this behind me for now. I'm going on vacation, and everybody starts calling.
It just all starts flowing towards you then.
Exactly, because you let go. As long as you're in the way, it's like, think of it as vibrations or energy. They're static. With you trying to make everything and force everything, just like trying to force an outcome. In Zen, you know, they say, you don't try to, well, there's so many sayings, but, you know, stop the river. No, you flow with it. You go with it. And so in terms of transformation, just know that whatever you're resisting, if you can accept it, you will transcend it, and you will have power. You'll get your power back, and you'll feel the difference. It'll be a shift for you. So how do you reclaim your power? Look at those things which have power over you. What has power over you? Fear, the business not going right. Money has power over you. The lack of money has power over you. Certain people that you have issues with or problems with. So I'm going to suggest to you, if you want to reclaim your power, and that, by the way, to accomplish anything in life requires power. Not power over people, but power within. When you have, the more power you have within, the more you can begin to manifest that which is important to you, which matters to you. And so if you set your intention, or intentions, by the way, and every morning I have this page